Hello everyone, sorry for having a couple of minutes of delay here, but I'm Christian Lord, I'm with Emil Söderholm and Jesper Unander-Scharin because today the final slate happened. How are you doing, Jesper?
Well, good. Thank you. I've got the classic tournament call, of course, but other than a little plague, I'm all good.
And how are you with you, Emil?
Good. Do not have the tournament plague. I managed to dodge it, so I'm even better. You would always say I'm 1 point better than Jesper.
Yeah, no rest for the wicked. Jesper, you were at Pirate Cup, didn't go as we could have hoped for Sweden, but you were also Games of Westeros where, yeah, as Emil said, he came 1 point ahead even though it was a team tournament. How has these last couple of weeks been for you, Jesper, before this slate came today?
Quite hectic. I mean, there was Pirate Cup 2 weeks, ITT 2 weeks before Pirate Cup as well, so it's been a lot of 40k. It's going to be a lot more chill now for quite some time. I don't have any tournament planned for quite a while. I'm probably going to get the itch and go to something last minute, but yeah, that's how things are looking. Going back to like streams, and it's exciting with the new slate, of course, to play.
And for you, Emil?
Well, didn't go to Pyra, but did go to the ITT and also the Gov, so it's been a lot of gaming as well. Excited for the new balance patch. Maybe not as big as I was hoping to, but still gonna be fun to see where this puts the meta and what we have ahead of us.
Absolutely. And as these gentlemen said, they did win the ITT Winter late January, the largest team tournament with 153 teams. Team Vaisla came there dominating. We probably will get some acknowledges back to that part, but also big shout out to Tree of Tales. You can use the Vaisla code for 10% discount. Get your dice box today. These are the things that Jesper and Emil and the others are utilizing. You can customize it as you want. I saw that Drukhari, for example, who won the Vaisla team season 1 here, also got their ones customized, really cool looking. And of course, big shout out to Alpha Spel, the largest retailer of Warhammer 40k in the northern of Europe. And I think we all would need maybe some plastic coming out into this new slate. But gentlemen, should we jump into it already?
Yeah, let's go.
So here we are, and maybe Jesper, you want to take it away because this is like the current, can we say, meta as we left in the old slate, or how would you describe it?
Yeah, we played around with it before the stream just to prepare and establish a sort of baseline, because I feel like most tier lists that we saw were quite early, and there was also, of course, the Necron changes and the additional Ultramarine units, for example. So we felt with the need to sort of establish a new benchmark to where we're moving from. So this is how we view the meta game that was yesterday before the slate came out.
And
it's a sort of a combination between teams and singles, I would say.
And I mean, I think that we do this tier list on day 0, so to speak, and we know that this will be wrong to some extent, depending on the two gentlemen here's expertise. But I think that one, for example, army that were pretty low rated from the last slate was the custodes, and it became one of the strongest armies. That's also what's interesting within the game, that at first glance, maybe we don't get everything right, or we do. I think that that's why it's so exciting. But should we kick it off, or anything more, Emil, that you want to kind of summarize the previous slate?
Yeah, so I mean, as you said, it's the day 1, the previous tier, and then we need to recognize that we have had 500 worlds, and now also the Musts of the Maelstrom coming in, and those have, in some sense, been have a larger impact than the slates in some ways. So that also obviously impacts what we're seeing here.
Absolutely, and I think there was it 6 more detachments that just were released last week or so, which are not yet playable, I believe.
I mean, we got the rules before Gov. I played one of the new ones, so I sure hope it was eligible. And now we also got the rules for the Twin Lads, for example, so we will be discussing. So, I mean, we're in a kind of a weird spot where they're releasing rules before releasing the material or the models. So what is actually allowed, what is not. I mean, I'm coming from, I remember back in the day when we had rules for way more models than GW actually sold, so then it wasn't a weird thing. But now who knows? Are they eligible? Or are they not?
Well,
it seems like most tournament organizers are willing to accept the new rules almost as soon as possible because people want the new stuff, which I kind of appreciate. So let it flow.
And one of the advantages of playing online with TTS, of course, real game is the most important and the most fun. But if you're interested, the Vesla TTS Team Season 2 is starting on Sunday, and you can still sign up. I know that both of you gentlemen will participating in different teams, and it's going to be really exciting to see if Drukhari once again will win, or if one of the other international teams will compete. So you can sign up on the Vesla Discord. But let's jump into it, and I take a bit lead here. The Imperial Agents, somehow the worst army. People say it's not an army. They even got nerfed because of that they are being allied. So I assume, is that a red arrow and we don't move them, or what do you say, Jesper?
I mean, I guess so. It's at the moment perhaps not really worthwhile discussing them as an army, but there is, like, the Imperialist fleet does have powerful stratagems at least, but of course they sort of lack an army rule and there's not enough to compensate for that. So, but all of a sudden, if there's with all these data sheets coming in, perhaps there's some sort of like data sheet or like workhorse unit that you could actually abuse in what I would guess would be that detachment. So yeah, we'll see. I think it's good to keep them in mind at least.
So one slight note here is that previously, if we're looking at this, only the impact of this data slate, we do have one thing that we haven't mentioned in regards to Imperial Agents is that they got the Decimus kill team, which actually is kind of gives them a small bump because that one is good in the specific detachment. So, and also they didn't get any specific nerfs to them as a sole army, only as allies. Combine that with the fact that we're looking at a lot of the top going down. So putting them going down, I mean, they're already at the bottom. So I don't think they could be much worse. I would say actually they're slightly better now, but just slightly, but they're still at the bottom.
This is why I have Emil. I agree.
Okay.
Give them a
is
yellow.
Is it a yellow more fair?
Yeah, let's put it at a yellow.
Solidly worst.
All right, so they are getting the new units, right? And therefore the point increase on Draxus and was it the Inquisitor? Balance it out.
So the Draxus and so the thing is the Draxus and Inquisitor is if you have them as allies. I believe that you are able to, so they're not if you just put them in just play Imperial Agents if you're a psychopath and you want to do that.
I think there are some out there. Okay, should we move on to Genestealer cults?
Out there.
So Genestealer cults, of course, have been struggling. I have seen, though, that Nassim have picked them up, done really great, and I know that we have the semi-final or the bronze place for third match coming up here. We also will play it on the Vesla TTS tournament. But where do you see the Genestealer cults based on this slate and where they have been?
I think a bigger problem is the meta for them. I mean, they were unchanged, which is a general theme with some of the worst armies in the game, which is perhaps why I would say that people are a bit disappointed in the slate, and we'll get to it more. But I think the meta we're coming into is gonna be a bit more hostile even to Genestealer cult than it was. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be investing in Genestealer cult stocks right now.
No, I agree. Unchanged, but the meta around them has. Maybe there was some kind of argument for taking them to flood the board against, for example, Necrons or something. But now that maybe Necrons will be less prevalent, and people will be moving into a little more diverse, then I don't think that it's good for them. Still not worse than Imperial Agents, though. So.
But neutral, no changes, maybe trending downwards to some extent, but basically staying in the same shit spot they are in.
I mean, it's one of those armies that if you are really a faction specialist or you know how to pilot them, you can do well. But it's not something I would put in a top 8 in a team situation right now.
Gotcha. And we might scoot around things by the end of it when we're done with this tier list. Next up is the Orks, and actually Orks had somewhat of good play towards the previous meta with the scintillating, and I guess to some extent to the Necrons too, I believe. Now when these two are a bit worse, where does it put the Orks? Because no changes, and I think quite many greenskins are pretty upset around the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once again, unexpected that this slate would be so bleak, so to say. I mean, it speaks volumes about where the focus is right now. This is an indirect confirmation that the Balance team is working on something else, in my opinion, since they're making us live through so few changes and so little of a shake-up, which people have started to expect. So yeah, it's not a good time to be an Orc player and looking to forward to this spring, to be honest. I'm very skeptical of the playstyle now. I mean, the Orcs have had their times in the spotlight this edition with more Daka and with Tactical Brigade, but when it's a melee-only army that's dependent on VAG, it's it doesn't come together as a reasonable game plan, in my opinion. So yeah, welcome to D tier, and I hope you enjoy.
And also neutral, I guess, as you see it, or do you see that they even going down because of they were somewhat good towards some of the armies maybe being weaker?
I think it's reasonable to put them as a small down, to be honest. Still think they're better than Genestealer Cult, probably, but it's yeah.
I mean, again, they didn't have any specific changes to them. Meta around them changes. Now the meta in overall seems to be going down a little bit in power, which by default would make them maybe go up a little bit in power. But you could really take them into big monsters, for example, and that not being as prevalent makes that kind of niche even worse. And it feels like you're kind of forced into a specific play style. The change they did last late with the gas and 20 boys, it's powerful, but it's kind of a one-trick thing. Maybe there is some juice hiding somewhere someone hasn't discovered yet, but I highly doubt it.
Are they worse than Genestealers?
They're all see no scum.
I think it's the same, the internal balance in the D tier, to be honest. But it's yeah, both are looking bleak.
Understood. So next up we have the Imperial Knights. They were the bottom of C tier according to you guys coming into this slate. They did got some buffs. I guess some of those parts were not on units that you typically use, but I would also say that Imperial Knights somehow have been trending up from having a really bad codex. So where do you see the Imperial Knights being right now compared to the yesterday, so to speak?
I mean, this is a little bit of speculation also with the new knight coming out that we know nothing about really. But I think, as you say, there's always when there's a few points decreases, people are going to tend to look a bit more towards a faction. But I think the big thing is that with the nerfs we're going to talk about a bit more soon, is that the general meta is probably going to go a bit wider, and there's going to be less focus on just killing Kitans, even though they're still going to be around for sure. So and they're going to catch less stray bullets in that regard. So I would expect Imperial Knights to do better, not by a miracle or any huge changes, but I think they were going to be better and more prevalent now.
So you see they at least got a buff. Emil, do you see that they also should change sort of positioning in this tier list right now?
No, I mean while they did get a small buff, it's not big enough to actually open up new opportunities in the army building as it stands. Maybe an ally, maybe a Draxus. Oh wait, she gained in points. Maybe not. But like Jesper said, we have a new knight coming in. We have a new detachment coming in that might change this up completely. Meta may be changing from going hunting Necrons, meaning that you will have less anti-armor hunting you. Yeah, could be. I mean, a slight buff, I'd say.
It's possible that they pass Grey Knights and Space Wolves, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Should we do that already now?
Yeah, you can do it for now.
And let's also get them at least somewhat of a buff here then.
Mm-hmm. The first green arrow.
Oh
Yay.
Yeah. I think one part is also interesting that it seems to have been the trend that's been playing 5 big knights have been the way. Now with the Helverine going down slightly, and maybe that will change also before the medium knight that has been teased from Games Workshop will come in. We will see what will be the right way to play it. Okay, Grey Knights, they've been in purgatory, I would say, and they did get some buffs on the Terminators, but very low points, and to be honest, those Terminators are pretty crazy expensive. And without, what is his name? Khal Drogo, I almost said it, Drogo. It's, it seems to be that I guess this doesn't impact much. So what is your thoughts on this one, Emil?
They weren't played before. Hardly, at least, and I do not think they will be played now. I believe there's very little synergy for Terminator squads in general, and that will unfortunately not help the faction. Sure, it's a small buff, obviously, but I don't see any new opportunities opening up for the Grey Knights because of this.
The only thing I have to say, to be honest, is that there was so little hype when the new codex came out, and they've been under the radar completely. So, I mean, Grey Knights sort of give me the feeling like, should we play this year's WTC on 10th? I think it's quite likely that it sort of vibes like one of those codexes where someone finds something. So perhaps there's some discovery to be made there. To be honest, I know Kalle played around with it a bit and was disappointed a while ago, but it's one of my hot takes for where people could actually find something. Maybe
have you looked at the codex? Have you?
I have a long time ago, and then I didn't. But
it's very, very disappointing.
Yeah.
I think
you have to dig deep.
I know that Swede Joel Hansson did pretty well at the ITT that you guys won on just the Grey Knights, but to be honest, this buff, so to speak, is not really a buff. So I guess this is just a yellow flat on the Grey Knights, and we keep them in this spot. Is that correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't put them more higher, at least.
Yeah. Or are they going down, you think, even?
I think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, by the virtue of maybe less high toughness targets walking around, the Dread Knights will be better, and then they will have a little bit easier. But it's not affected by the changes in the data slate.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard part to really count in how this new potential meta will be and affecting it all for sure. Okay, Space Wolves, the army that you played at the WTC 2025, Jesper, and since those nerf afterwards, it has been seen, but barely seen. So how is it with Logan and the gang? Didn't get any changes, or actually got nerfs because of Space Marines got nerfed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's I know Michael Mann is playing like a Stormlands build with just like Terminators and I think some Wolfan and Terminators and Thunwolves, and I mean it's an acceptable build. I don't think it's especially good, to be honest. Perhaps there's some invention to be made. I don't know, spamming head takers or doing something cool once again in like a melee only beast slayer build. I don't think so, to be fair, but there is once again they're suffering a bit from like competitive abandonment, so you never know. But like if we're gonna take it at face value right now, I think they belong exactly where they are. It's not a great place to be. There are way better like melee marine options, for example.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, go ahead.
When they came up, I mean, they were doing kind of they were not unique in their playstyle, but they were doing their thing. Now we have several others coming in, Black Templars, and even the new CSM versions coming in, trying to do similar things, and they just don't do it enough. And first time we mention it during today, but we'll probably mentioning it all. Just like the small nerf to the combat lieutenant of 15 points will impact all Space Marine armies, this being one of them. So if anything, a slight nerf.
Yeah, and I mean the Redemptors, Dreadnoughts, and Repulsa probably is not impacting Space Wolves as much. But would you put it at the flat, or would you say that it's even nerfed because of the meta and the changes?
I think also the meta will gravitate lag down from big chunky things to maybe even elite infantry that. So people will be taking into dealing with whatever the Space Wolves will be bringing, like 3 wound models, 4 wound models with involved, that kind of stuff that Michael Mann might have been working on. So Yeah, I think it's a slight nerf.
Red arrow or yellow?
Do the red one. Why not?
Do the red one. Yeah, let's get some haters.
And this is both for the nerfs of the Space Marines, but also that you think that the meta will even be worse for them. Because armies will be more catered towards Space Wolves, so to speak.
Mm.
All right, League of Votann. I know that you on and off, Jesper, have been playing League of Votann. They did get a new detachment, they did get a new character, but no changes. And it seems like the character is pretty meh, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know there's like some talk about them being better than people treat them, and that is probably true. Once again, they came out with a quite like lackluster codex. I know like Tim Schneider was like the champion of Votann before the codex isn't apparently playing them that much from what I know. So, and that speaks volumes. So I think there needs to be a more drive towards like developing the faction, and I think for some reason like we're starting like reaching a point where there's enough talk about it that people are actually going to take the leap. So I think we're going to see some developments there. I'm not seeing them right now. One thing to say, of course, that they tend to play like double hackathons generally, and that is probably slightly better in the meta now. And they're not bad at like handling like elite medium-sized armies. So I see them sort of remaining flat for now until or if someone finds something cool here. But I'm not seeing it right now.
Yeah, I mean the roster of League of Votann is increasing. A year ago, it was very, very narrow. We didn't have a lot of options. Now there is actually some depth to the faction, and there is some more expression or possibilities to express different playstyles in the army. I don't think that this slate or the new character really changes that. Maybe you get a little bit more hammer in your berserkers if you put this guy in, the new guy, which I mean it's you get another hammer to your hammer guys, which by default I guess bumps them up a little bit.
It's expensive, right? Overall, like 115, I think. It seems crazy.
I'm not sure it's someone you will take, but I'm not good enough, and I haven't looked into Votann enough to say. But yeah, as Jesper says, like the base Votann data sheets, maybe they're just a little bit improved in the meta currently.
Can we say that? Yeah, please go ahead, Jesper.
No, I just want to say this to everyone that like it looks like we're doing nothing right now with the tier list, and that's because GW really didn't do much to help the weaker armies. So that's what you're seeing here, that there's not much changes going on down here, so to speak. And I can only apologize for that, but it's out of our control.
Yeah, and we probably will get more to that point too. Sorry, Emil, what did you say?
No, and unfortunately also the weaker, for example, the weaker melee armors will get worse in the meta because the stronger melee armors will get better in the meta and will push the worse melee armies down a bit. So that's also why you're seeing like Orks and Space Wolves having a little bit a red downturn here.
And maybe we can also say that Votann typically the stable army, the anchor of many teams setups, but as the meta is pretty flat, they are just better armies that do what normally Votann can do. Is that the right way to kind of describe it?
Yeah,
in a way.
Okay, and then we say just that it's neutral, and we don't change it either. You want to, it kind of fits there just above Imperial Knights?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next up, we do have the Dark Angels, one of your favorites. Jesper, you played it on and off both in 2024, 2025. I think that this army is still very good and competent and can do quite a lot of things, and Lion, but for sure has been other armies just being better. They, I guess, did get a nerf because Space Marines get a nerf, or how do you see the Dark Angels right now?
Yeah, it's just 15 points, but so I'm sure you will accommodate for that. I think it's a big question once again is going to be what's the what's the terrain set here? Because once again, if you're playing on like GW, I think you can actually start looking at the Ravenwing Black Knights once again that I played for WSW, because they're actually like very good for the points, especially now. And there you can actually start getting home some of the point nerfs that came towards like Astra and the Combi Lieutenant, and also the Wrath of the Rock builds were starting to play Centurions. That also got nerfed a bit last patch, so there are some troubles there. But I think you can make like a quite competent Dark Angel build come together, and especially if you want to prey on more pushy armies, of course, like doing Deathwing Knights and doing Lion is gonna be quite good. So I expect them to go up a little bit here in value.
Here we have one of those examples of an army that might be a little bit better in the meta, which is making the other melee armies worse. Because if Dark Angels are good, that's not good for melee armies.
And if I read you right, is that with Necrons and Chaos Demons getting worse, that means that the Dark Angels becomes better just because they also struggle. But the things that will pop up now, Dark Angels are good. I mean, Lion, I guess, loves to have this infantry type of 3 wounds models to just go through.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I think you can put them at like bottom of B for now.
Okay, we move them up first.
Mm-hmm.
Now everything will go crazy here when we try to solve it. Bottom B, would you say? I mean, probably we'll move some others, but if you say with the Emperor's Children, where would you, and Drukhari, where would you put them in compared to them?
I don't want to spoil too much, so just put them below Blood Angels for now.
Yeah, we go up here, and we will fix this part, and we can say at least both that they jump up 1 tier, but they also are stronger right now.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're missing the yellow for votann.
Yeah, we will fix it here. Like this is my plan.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, next up we have Aeldari, and I think Aeldari, did they eat 6 straight type of nerves, or how was it? And now they are down in the shithole.
Finally, they hit Astra, man. I was waiting for it. Now I can go out and play whatever I want. No, maybe this was a bit unwarranted. maybe this was a bit too much.
Yeah, seems undeserved to me. I mean, there was these like weird buffs to datasheets that I've seen very little play for very, very long. I don't think that's gonna make the Wraith detachment pop up, but what do you know? Maybe there are some like interesting Guardian spam builds that plays Warlocks with a very good strat in that detachment, for example, and maybe there's something there that is to give elder players, or like hardcore elder players, some competitive hope. But I think this army is going to suffer from the meta that we're sort of painting up, to be honest, and it doesn't help that Astroman costs even more now, which was like the final untouched good Phoenix Lord, or pseudo untouched at least. So yeah, sorry guys. I still think maybe that Eldar is better than the other C-tier armies, but just that's just on the fault of these other armies.
I mean, they still have their movement things. They did get all of the Corsairs and whatnot, and I don't think we've really seen how they've been playing out, if there is any jank to be done with them. But now it's really more about the tactical army that plays the scoring game and not really goes out with their murder bricks to kill you. And then we'll see how the meta changes out. Maybe there is a need for someone like an army like that in a team's context, but I think they will be struggling in a singles context unless you are very, very good at the army.
Cool. So do we put them neutral? Do they get a buff? Does the meta get better or worse for them? Where do we actually see them? I guess their position in C tier is kind of where you believe they will stick.
But I still think they're gonna sadly go down in win rate, which is not a good thing. But that's what I expect.
So you would say a red arrow?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it's hard to when we have one of the few good untouched characters getting nerfed. That will probably have an impact.
All right, really cool. Move down this one, and then we are at the Blood Angels, the current army I'm playing. The army that typically in this tier list are at S tier, and then when everyone plays against them, they end up in the B tier. But they did get some significant buffs with the Blade Guard veterans be able now to be attached with the priest, the sanguinary priest, giving them a 5+ Feel Pain. What do you think, Jesper?
I think that's I spontaneously, without seeing it on the table already, I think that is very good. It gives them an additional AP as well, which is very nice because Blood Angels are kind of hard locked into mainly being AP2. So and of course the 5 of Feel No Pain all the time. So I think there's something here for sure. Perhaps the meta will adjust for it in a bit, but it still looks like a quite nice army, and Blood Angels are quite popular as well, so I expect them to surge up quite a bit. I don't think they're gonna be like meta boogeyman or anything, and perhaps people are even gonna find out that they're not suitable for teams even. But I think it is a real competitive army, so I would probably put them at like sort of top of B, something like that.
Yeah, I mean the combination of 4-up info, 5-up Feel No Pain on a 3-wound model for kind of cheap that is actually punching semi-hard, or actually hard if you put them in the like lib. Yeah, that for sure is going to have an impact on that army, and hopefully we will see a move away from the 10-man Lemartus, or well, we will still see the Lemartus.
Probably the combo.
But maybe we'll see some diversity into it. And I want to say that the Blood Angels have been S tier in the tier list because I haven't been there because I'm a hard Blood Angels denier. Yeah, I don't like them.
Well,
you maybe, hate red melee Space Marines.
I mean,
it's such a weird thing, right? Why don't I like them? But I don't.
No, but I think that, I mean, this is with the lens from a, can we say, 8-man type of teams or 5-man teams, where for sure the Blood Angels have had some play, but you need to cater so much for it. I think maybe you've been putting them a bit down in this tier list, but you're saying top of B, should we put them all the way to the left, or do you think somewhere in between as of right now?
I think you can do all the way to the left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, and I agree with that. And I think that they will be better in a singles environment now as well, because they will be a little bit more flexy. You should not deny the durability of what those Blade Guard bricks can provide, and how that actually changes how you play the game.
And Jesper and Emil, would you say that you think that they might trend back now to lag, or do you think that they will stay in Rage Curse, or too soon to tell?
I think lag as in Liberator Assault Group is a more suitable detachment for them. There's like, fallback charge, and I think like Fight on Death isn't really a suitable thing for Blade Guard veterans because they're so durable, so it's not really something you're going to want to pay 2 CP for a lot. So I think you're going to go back to Liberator Assault Group if you believe that the Blade Guard vets are good, so to speak.
And Azurat the Grim did get 10% decrease, which means that actually they will have in the Death Company a somewhat built-in Fight on Death, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to go that way. I'm not sure that you want him still, but
maybe it's just a trap.
Probably a trap.
Maybe.
All right, let's go over now to Emperor Children, and that's an army that both of you are enjoyers of. And I think the big thing was the Terminators becoming cheaper. I don't see maybe they would be doing that much. But what was the other? The Torments got a bit cheaper. Like, where do you see the Emperor Children right now?
It's the Flawless Blades once again.
Oh yeah,
down 10 points. So they're at 100 points now. So and they're also at 4 attacks. So they are sort of ending up at a point where they're looking a bit enticing for their points. So it does help. It helps a bit when you play around with the points sometimes if you choose to include them. And also, I think the big thing here is contextually how they're going to work in the meta. I think the fact that we're sort of moving away from the absolute toughest targets and to more of a going wide style, that was sort of happening in the meta regardless, with like Recon doing extremely good at Pyra Cup and CSM popping up, for example. I think everything is sort of in line now for EC to make a bigger splash in the meta, and I mean there's a lot of players me and Emil, for example, who really enjoy playing them as well. So I think we're gonna see a lot of more of them, and I'm really happy to see that because it's a really fun and like cool design of the army.
And would you say that Necrons was the biggest problem, or were the Chaos Demons, or because Ultramarines, that's somewhat okay for EC, or how would you describe it in the previous meta?
It's helpful that the Redemptus went up in points to sort of discourage Ultramarines from playing too many of them, or like Marines in general. But yes, Necrons is a massive problem. Custodes getting a slight tap, and Stint as well. I think Stint was probably playable still. Everything helps EC, I would say.
I mean, the Redemptus being a big thing for the Ultramarine matchup, which otherwise could have been quite good against, for example, Vitrix Spam. But as soon as Redemptor showed up, it was much more difficult.
Mm.
And that wasn't sort of a staple, but some players did it, and it's going to be helpful overall with even less Redemptors being around, I would expect.
So what you see is it? Sorry.
No, the Flawless Blade buff, of course, makes them very much more interesting. And Emperor's Children is like on the cusp of being good, where they have enough trading pieces to actually get, if you play Cautery, to get the trading in going. And Flawless Blades are positioned in, maybe they are in the right spot right now. And if we just break that threshold, they will be a good and viable army again.
Really cool. So I'm actually excited. Is this top of B, low A? Where do you actually see the Emperor Children ending up?
I would put them above World Leaders at least.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
So somewhat mid of B, is that what I... Oops, that's not what I wanted to do.
No.
We do like this. Sometimes technology, somewhere like here, and they for sure getting a buff, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
There could be an argument for moving them further up, but I think that's good for now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, Drukhari, Dark Eldar. I'm also a bit surprised that they actually rate them this low in the previous slate. Like, I think that they have had some good play, but I guess in teams that they suffer more than maybe in singles.
I don't know. You say surprised, but this is a list that we made. I think, if anything, we're giving them too much praise. I think it's a really shitty army, to be honest. The damage profiles only work sometimes, like Haywire is the main example, but it's also true for like witches that are sort of a work of the datasheet for them. They can't take like a soft breeze of damage. The tricks are way fewer than in regular Eldar. I mean, is your game plan to only gotcha people with a charge end of movement strat if you go that way, or like just be a bad in general army if you're playing Reaper's Wager? It's not coming together in a reasonable way. I'm so unimpressed with them, and I think they need help. It speaks volumes that like Andreas Holm is finally abandoning them.
He did play it this weekend.
He did. Not gonna play them anymore, I believe. No, but I mean, it's also the way you need to build them if you want to do the whatever it's called with a bunch of Helions, where you have this small, flexible mobility army, but the footprint you have is so big that you can't really use that. You're gonna get shot from angles you don't want to, regardless, because you're not unable to hide. You need to ingress, and then you go into, let's say, Traitor Enforcer, and you completely don't even kill them, and you're stuck. It's like Jesper said, the entire stick of the arm is, am I going to be able to charge you? And that just isn't enough. It's going to be strong mid tables where you will face people that can't really deal with it. But as soon as the opponent has an idea of how to deal with it, it's uphill.
I mean, I feel like they can play a respectable and cool 40k game into 40% of the meta. And into the rest, they just die. And it's unacceptable to go with. I mean, if you're a big fan, sorry, but this is where you're gonna be for the rest of the 10th.
Most likely, many Scar fans around the world is not so happy with what you're saying right now, but I think maybe that's true, though.
Yeah, but of course we need to take it into the context of they did actually get some points buffs here. We're looking at, I'm just going to go to it, the Homunculus getting 10 points off, the Scourges with Shard Carbines getting 5 points off, the Racks going down. But none of these things were actually impacting the gameplay. I don't think I've seen any of these models in any of the lists I've read through the last 2 months. And I don't believe I will be seeing them next month either. So, and even with the new characters that you're able to grab from the Master of the Maelstrom, hasn't really had that impact. So no, I can't say that they have been coming out of this late winners, even though they get points cuts.
Yeah, I think they belong in like top of C now.
Okay, so we should put them down, and I think it's impressive that you can get cheaper data slates that simply doesn't impact the game at all. And I like that they're buffing units that are not being utilized, but this will not make it. So would you put them above or below Aeldari? Where would you like to have them?
I think they're above Aeldari. They're gonna do better and see more play.
Okay, but, so top of C.
They're all C, no scum. That's my reply again.
So put them here, and I will fix it. And I think that if you have reached this far into this broadcast or the VOD, make a subscription, donate, subscribe, and of course check out Alpha Spel and Tree of Tales supporting Vaisla and bringing all this lovely action to you guys. So you would say that they got nerfed then, or would you say that they got buffed but the meta got nerfed, so to speak?
I mean, they didn't get buffed. It's not a real buff. So they just have a worse time in the meta that's coming in. And I also think people are going to move away from them and abandon them competitively.
By example now, for example, Emperor's Children is a really bad matchup for them because they can't hide from Emperor's Children. They will get blown to bits. And then there is a Demon Prince coming down. They can't kill the Demon Prince, and then they die. So just by that, or again, like the Dark Angels we put up, also not a good thing for them.
Gotcha. So are they yellow or are they red?
Red.
I like
That's good.
If you haven't, so viewers, if you haven't noticed, Jesper doesn't like Dark Angels.
I mean, it's not true in a general sense. Like, I think design-wise, they're pretty cool. Like, I know in 9th they were quite OP for a while, and I would have loved to play them back then. I don't have anything against them in a general sense, but I think how the design has ended up is quite poor, to be honest. They need better weapon profiles that works against different things and that aren't like bound to anti-infantry or anti-vehicle, and you can't play an army that dies to Overwatch, dies to fight first, dies to bolters. I mean, what are you doing?
You look at them and they die.
There's an argument to be made that like you can get split witches and you have 10 OC that is super fast, can go on and deny, but that works only so far. Until someone actually moves up, denies your deny, and then you die. You run out of units.
Probably one of those armies that even if the meta is changed, they wouldn't put them in the top anyhow. So next up, Adeptus Mechanicus has been overall pretty bad throughout the 10th, but did have an upswing in the recent, the one before slate, and World Championship where Richard Siegler did win with them and everyone was playing at Mechanicus. Maybe it should be said that though here beginning of 2026 they have been a disappointment. Can we say it like that? They've been weaker than people expected.
Yeah, I mean they got severely nerfed last slate, and I think that's sort of catching up in quite strongly. Once again, people who aren't AdMech mains are moving away from them, and I feel like they once again lack sort of a one unit of infiltrators or what's the name of the other ones? Infiltrators and Sicarii, Ruststalkers. And once again that's hurting them quite a bit. This is also a meta once again that's gonna be perhaps even more hostile. They really hate getting shot by Noise Marines. So something other people were doing that was honestly starting to look a bit more interesting to me. Admech wise is doing like more vehicle heavy Halo Screed, because then you're trying some other strategy rather than like going wild with Skitarii Hunter cohort. I'm not sure that gets all the way either. So yeah, I think they're gonna keep trending downwards for now, until maybe perhaps Ziegler finds something other cool inside of it. I don't know, but and there are like new units coming out and perhaps a detachment, so we'll see. But right now I'm a bit skeptical.
Yeah, I mean, no touches in the data slate. So again, we're just speaking about the meta moving around them. We don't know what the new units will bring and the new detachment as well coming in. That might put them in a completely new new light. But I think they're a little bit overhyped. They were strong for a multitude of reasons when Ziegler won the Worlds, and they are kind of hanging on to that lost glory somehow. And there needs to be some innovation being made for them to be a breakout army again. They can't. The old build just doesn't work, like Jesper said.
Understood.
So so it's gonna be like, I think that if they keep trying the same thing, I think it's going down. If they do find a new build, maybe leaning into this vehicle heavy meta, they might be getting a few legs up here. But at current, I think they're just staying where they are.
All right.
I mean, maybe. Yeah. It's. I agree. They should probably be where they are.
Go ahead. Come on.
Maybe swap places with Archangels, if we're gonna be precise.
No, I can buy that. I can buy that.
And would you say that they're trending down or kind of neutral?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna keep trending down. It's a bit of a sinking ship. But as Joachim said, if the new detachment comes out, gives them buffs to some other, perhaps other interesting playstyles as well, that would be really cool. And I think they need that.
Yeah,
probably.
Crossing finger for the new stuff.
The builds we see now trending down for sure. Again, like those brings Dark Angels as well, so we see moving up. Blood Angels also, it's gonna be not something that Admech actually enjoys. So same builds going down. Find something else, maybe you can get some breakout. But yeah, I agree.
All right, over to the Tyranids. They were the excited ones getting a new character or model that seems to do almost nothing, and it seems to be that Tyranids are struggling. They, of course, been not liking the Catan meta, but we've seen some cutie play. We see the subterranean assaults coming back and forth sometimes, but they seem to go nowhere, and they seem to be somewhat weak.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I think I don't want to over exaggerate the prevalence of like power armor 3-wound models, and I'm not sure it's going to be everywhere as much as we make it out to be, but that's a kind of place where you want to play exocrines and invasion fleet with like the ability to give feel of pain to all your monsters. So there is an argument there. The spore mines can be like game breaking for some advanced charging armies as well. And there was a quite interesting like going wide Hormagaunt what is it called, like whatever, a lot of Hormagaunts and Termagaunts and everything actually in Invasion Fleet played at Pyro, and that was quite cool as well. So I think there's perhaps some developments to be seen there, and ability to adjust to the meta somewhat, especially in a teams format. You can definitely make an argument for them, even more the more I think about it. So I think they're going to stay put somewhere where they are right now.
Yeah, I think John Lennon said that Sam Pope was right. 80 Hormagaunts is the way to go, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Is the current take. They got nothing except this new character that does nothing, I guess. So neutral, or they trending still upwards, giving the Space Marines armors, that the power armors that could be good for them?
I think they're like going up a little bit, just by the virtue of them having flexibility in their builds, being able to adjust to the new meta while they were unable to adjust to the old meta. So I'd say it's slightly up.
but still the same position, or would you put them above, changing the order of them?
I think they're gonna be wherever they are, probably.
Okay.
But still
Maybe
a
we will
green
move-
because of the meta changes.
Yes. I think that maybe they might put them over the top so that something else falls down. We'll see.
All right. Next up, the World Eaters, and I look at you directly here, Emil, and I think
Such a
still
massive
somewhat
buff
they've
you
been
are.
underestimated in the current meta. Like I think they still have had place once in a while, but how do you see this changing? Because they've been somewhat good versus Necrons potentially, and some of these big unit armies.
I mean, the massive change, 5 points of Forge Fiend, which will change absolutely nothing in the army build. I don't believe there's even like a situation where that will have any impact. Not even for maybe for an enhancement in some fringe build. But yeah, so World Leaders, they can answer like big chunky meta where we have big stuff going around. They did get a recent point update to a mid-slate update to the Slaughterbound, I believe, with him going up in points. But they are still able to. Now, it's hard. It's hard to say if I think they're unfortunately just still stuck in B tier, and I think they're worse than whatever we have to the left of them. So I think they will have to stay where they are, even though the meta might be a little bit better for them, or potentially worse. If you're looking at Dark Angels going up here, we don't like that. But then again, Redemptors going down, like -1 damage is like the bane of existence for World Leaders. So Redemptors, Deathwing Knights, Necrons, or Bullgreens, that kind of stuff is really something you don't want to see. But then again, Astra might be leaning into Recon moving forward. Not a lot of Bullgreens. That's better for World Leaders. But Deathwing Knights coming up with Dark Angels, that's bad for World Leaders. Necrons being less prevalent, good for World Leaders. So it's a very much mixed bag. So I think the jury is still out on where exactly we end up. It's one of those things where they are what do we call them? Meta 3, Meta 2, whatever we call them.
Level 2, maybe.
Level 2, yeah, level 2. That's the thing. So we need to look at what's the baseline going to be, what is the answer to the baseline going to be, and then we look at okay, where's World Leaders, because World Leaders aren't really an answer to anything in the meta currently. They're an aggressive army that can push, but they don't have a natural fit right now. So I think middle of B is like just where they are.
And yellow on them.
Yellow on them, yeah.
Cool. Next up, the Chaos Knights, and I would say that the previous situation for them have probably been almost the worst they've been in TEM for a very long time. But I would assume now with Chaos Demons getting a bit worse, and also with the Necrons getting worse, or the Catans, is that good for Chaos Knights, even though they didn't have any changes?
There's also the fact that I mean they tend to prey on these like elite, medium-sized armies. So I think the meta is more set up for them, and people are going to be more busy handling that rather than bringing all the big guns for like the big knights. So I think they're going to be better, significantly better. Not like top of the meta, but I think at least top of B probably is where I'm putting them.
And we saw the German Chaos Knight player Pyra already before the slate doing very good. I think it's Power, right? Went really strong in that tournament. But would you put them then above Blood Angels or below?
I think it's gonna shake up that they're above.
In the end, you think that they will end above the Blood Angels?
Yeah.
And what do you think, Emil?
No, I think I can submit to Jesper's opinion here. We are in a situation where, at least in Sweden, we have been trying to take against Chaos Knights for so long that it kind of becomes second nature, and everyone sort of have a way to solve them. And then but we can't take that into consideration into a wider perspective. So I think, yeah, they're strong. They're getting stronger in this meta, for sure. We do have a new detachment coming up that might also unlock some potential for them. I mean, it's highly doubt that they will find something better than Infernal Lance, but there might be something. So yeah, trending up.
Cool. And we can give also a green mark, I guess.
Yes.
Very cool. Or I don't know if it's very cool. I guess many people are upset with the Chaos Knight after 2025, and especially Björn Eriksson in the Swedish and international scene.
Oh.
All right, next up, the Death Guard. That's the army that you brought to the WTC, Emil. Now it's very different, though, with Mortarion. I saw that Alban from Team France, the current War Master champion and WTC champion, did very good at Pyra with Mortarion. They did get the Demon Prince on wings, but I guess that won't do much, even though it's cheaper now.
That's another trap. That's a trap card. Don't fall for it. So I mean, I think he runs the exact same list that he did, or at least very, very similar to what he did during WTC.
Is that at Mortarion?
Yeah, but it's the same kind of baseline, I believe.
Yeah, I still think that makes quite a difference, but yeah.
Of course.
And it has become a lot more expensive, the army in general, point-wise.
So I don't think this. So, of course, if people are hunting Catans, they're basically hunting a Mortarion profile. If you take less for it, there will be less big guns going around, and Mortarion poses a bigger problem. So by virtue, that means that they are a little bit stronger. But so I would say slight buff, but not because of the Demon Prince with wings. Please don't take that guy.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna be slightly better than Thousand Suns now. I have to say. I think the meta is more fitting for Death Guard than for Thousand Suns.
Wow. Okay. And they're trending a bit upwards, but worse than Blood Angels.
They will beat Blood Angels specifically, but
hate those Death Guards.
Putting me towards, I think they're slightly better than Blood Angels.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay, very cool.
I'm just gonna say okay, and I'm not gonna object, and we'll see where it ends up.
And then you will attack me in 2 weeks.
And I mean, I'm kind of hyped for Blood Angels. I think they actually might do better for once, but maybe that's the trend. Like, you rate them at B and then they become S instead of rating them at S and they become B. Let's go over then to Thousand Suns. You kind of revealed it a bit here, Jesper, and I'm a bit surprised. In my book, I think actually Thousand Suns might be a top army now, but you see them as mid B.
Yeah, I have to say, I think it's interesting, the development we're seeing. I really like the build that's doing very well in our tournament right now on TTS. It's very cool. However, with how the army rule works, Cabal, you're better at going like really hard into one target, which was better in the former meta than right now. You don't really want pushing melee armies, forcing the issue early against you. And there are some fundamental problems, with how Cabal works now, that you can only try it once, so it's a bit unreliable how much damage you're actually going to be, and with that doesn't work, well, you're in big trouble as well. So I think the meta is, slightly more hostile towards them, even though the general power level has decreased a bit. So I expect them to be pretty much where they are right now. They're not a bad army. But it's also a bit hard to look past how their former greatness,
Yeah, where in 2024 it was for sure one of the strongest, if not the strongest army, and here in 25 been struggling since the Codex, and I guess also some of the demon detachment also got worse with the point increases. But would you put them at yellow, or would you put them at red even?
Just yellow, I would say.
Do you agree?
The specific Rubikai Phalanx detachment and their massive Terminator bricks was a very pointed answer to some of these larger models that we were facing. Now, the weakness with the army with that could be failing, the rolls for re-rolls, for example, or not doing that crucial extra move to get that angle, were more punishing before. So even though you are more you don't have the same incentive to put everything into one target, it's now more forgiving for you to fail those rolls. So it's like a give and take. But I still think that the meta being like a little bit more even, people will be looking at, for example, we have the exocrine example we had with the Tyranids. They will be preying more on that kind of models, the Terminator models. So yeah, I think that there is a plus minus all at this point.
And I think one thing we can say that if the year of 2025 was the year of chaos, it seems to not be it when it comes to the tier list of Vaisla though. But now I think we're coming to something that is controversial to some extent, exciting for many. I think that this is one of the armies that's been struggling and struggling and struggling. Should we say they've been trending upwards? You guys did bring it to the ITT with Jonathan Slay Johnson playing them. Of course, you miscalculated the terrain, but still you were the champions, and now they got the, what do we say, the Twin Lands, and it seems to be completely bonkers.
Yeah, Twin Lands seems like a crazy data sheet. I thought like Necrosor was priced to sell, and this he doesn't even compare to this, I would say. I mean, especially if you, I expect them to get an FAQ quite soon. I don't see them moving both fight phases, to be honest. That seems a bit much. But I think, yeah, it's just insane, and people are. I think a lot of games are going to be like, okay, I'll sacrifice 300 points just to kill them. I'll send my chosen brick or whatever. I don't want that. Go away. And that is very good, obviously. And I mean, it's not bad that the stealth suits go down in points as well, because they're a staple in every Tau army. I think most end up playing 2 of them, so that's 20 points less. Not bad. And I think there's actually a bit more refinement to do in the builds as well. I still think you're playing Montcalm with Triptide, but I think, yeah, it's starting to look like a very good army, very good for teams, very good on GW terrain. I think this is probably the first S tier army we're encountering now.
Yeah,
very cool.
We're talking about triple taps nerfs. This is a triple tap buff. We're looking at point buff, we're looking at a very strong new data sheet, and we're looking at a meta that is probably more beneficial to the army. We could rename the Twin Lands to Twin Green Arrows Up or something, because I think he needs two arrows, green arrows up. This is a very, very big winner in this data set.
And with both Necrons and we say Ultramarines becoming worse, I mean Tau is pretty good against Astra, I guess. So, and now they will have even one more up, or how do you see that matchup?
It's hard to say, because there's going to be the regular Astra build still with some tanks and maybe some Bulgari, maybe not, maybe some Kasserkin, and that's usually like a playable matchup for Tau. I think Recon Element, I think they're called, specifically just going wide Nemo style, is very problematic for Tau generally, because you lack the volume unless you build very specifically for it. So it's hard to say, to be honest.
Exactly. How far up should we put them? Sorry, Emil, continue.
No, I was going to say exactly what, just to repeat what Jesper said, basically, that Astra is wild, they're good into one, but bad into another build. So it's very difficult. But going to your question there, yeah, let's put him at the far right, and then move them accordingly after, because I don't think, like, they're not good as Necrons was before, but they're strong. They should clearly be S tier, but we'll have to see where everyone else is. And I do want two arrows here, to be honest.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't want to say it, but it almost feels like it's 160 per model, so it's like 320 for them. But all right, I like it. I like it. All right, back to Black Templar, who I actually think have been somewhat underestimated throughout this slate that was in yesterday. I think that they are really strong. And yes, Space Marines got more expensive, but also actually the most problematic data slate of it all, the Crusaders, they got cheaper. So
yeah, it's a bit surprising, to be honest. It's a bit of an out of touch point change. I don't think it's gonna matter much, but it's weird. It is very weird. It's not a it doesn't put the Balance team in a good light, to be honest. Like Olivier was tearing up Pyra Cup with it. Nassim has been doing very well with the build as well. What we're talking about is like the Bastion Task Force, the battle line detachment that basically only works for Black Templar because they're like the only Space Marine build with like good spammable battle line datasheets. So you're playing like triple 20-man Crusader blobs with double leader in each of them. So you hit super hard and you have a very problematic blood surge that you go in with.
so fast.
So like, yeah, it's a very cool build. I think on the other hand, the saving grace here is that the meta is gonna be a bit more hostile for them, I would say. Because if you move away from everyone trying to kill big things, they're by definition going to be better against something else, and they're what I expect is that they're going to be better against 2-1 models. So I think Black Templar is probably going to stay put towards the bottom of A. They will have an interesting role in teams, but that's going to be very much a meta call. I think it's if you want to roll the dice and go into a single tournament hoping that you play the correct matchups, then all power to you with Black Templars in the meta that I see coming. But something like that.
Stupid question though, before you jump in here, Emil. Like, with the repulse executioner becoming more expensive, is that the same for Black Templar, or do they have a special one?
They have a special one. So it's a separate date sheet. So that
didn't get more expensive.
That did not get no.
It did not, but it's the builds leaning more into them or have other problems. They've been nerfed before, so I don't think I would love to see such a build be good because it seems like a lot of fun to play like medium-sized bodies and then back up from 2 repulsor executioners. I mean, that kind of sounds like all the Ultramarines, to be honest, but in a new setting, so to speak. But I don't think that's where things are going to head. It's going to be Bastion Task Force and Crusader Spam.
I've actually been tinkering around a little bit with Bastion and Black Templars, and I've been really enjoying it. In the context of teams, and then I think the 20-mans are more prevalent, and they might be less good now, unless you want to kill some Recon Astra, I guess. In the concept of singles, I believe the 10-man Crusaders in Bastion is the best way to play Black Templars currently, and I feel like they are very strong still. What the problem they had was that they were unable to deal with the Catans in a good way, even though you had a massive amount of attacks. But when you're just looking at 10s, you are having a slightly worse day with that. You can't spam them just as well, and you die before you manage to kill the Catan. With less Catans being in this spotlight, more of the targets that you want to send a 10-man Crusader brick into appearing. I actually feel like they might be stronger. That specific build might actually be stronger now because you're not leaning into the blood surge as much. You're more leaning into the actual raw power of the output of those 10-mans, combining that with like a lieutenant or a marshal. And then you have more tools to go in with, and you have the rep access backing them up. So I don't want to move them. I think they're still where they are. I think that there are 2 different legs they're on in the sequence and the teams.
Gotcha. And
I'd say that
yellow?
Yeah, I would want to go Joe. Yeah.
Or red?
Yellow. And I must say, I've been really enjoying playing them when I have been playing them. So give them a go if you haven't already.
Don't like to meet them with my blood angels. That's a disaster, at least if I'm the pilot. No, but they are really cool, and shit, they do damage, and they are tough, I would say. Okay, Adepta sororitas didn't get any changes, I believe.
No changes.
I think it's a solidly good army still. They can kill big things thanks to Morven Wall, and they can do a lot of things solidly with just going. It's still going to be 30 sacrosanct, I believe, and then you ask yourself, are you going to be more like going wide oriented, or are you going to play a couple of castigators and some emulators to have a long range presence? I don't know what the correct answer is. I think it's going to vary with the meta game as well, but I think they're just a solid army. I would say that we can keep them sort of where they are.
Yeah, I don't think we need to move them. I'm looking at what we have in terms of meta changes, and I don't see any. Maybe the build for Blood Angels that we're looking at won't be harder for them to deal with. Emperor's Children being more active might be an issue for the 30 sacrosanct builds, but the other things we put up won't.
Yeah.
So I think they're like have some upside, have some downside, but it evens out in the end.
Yeah, interesting. I would almost think that given that we might think that melee would be overall a bit better than it was, I would actually think that Sisters would do really well against them. But it sounds like you guys keep them and also give them a yellow, or do they get the green up?
So the thing is with like with Sisters is that while they themselves being melee, if you're looking at Sacrifice, they are mostly there to score points and be exist on objectives, and sure they can push in, but like that's not their jam. Morven is the one going in doing the damage, and actually some of the things that are preying on the Sacrifice are melee based. Again, like if you're looking at the Emperor's Children, for example, they want to go in, they want to punch them in melee, or if you have Blood Angels in the Rage Field Onslaught that go in and go and kill them. Those are problematic for the sisters because they don't want to get one tap. They don't want to lose all of their sisters at one go. It's easier for them if you shoot them because then they're hiding by the hall and you pick out whoever you want to. But when you go melee, it's going to be difficult to do that because, well, you can't. So that's why it's just because it's a melee meta doesn't necessarily mean that it's better for the sisters.
Very, very cool. Okay, well, now we're coming up to one of the things that potentially could swing, we will see, but Chaos Demons early in the previous slate were seen as one of the strongest, maybe the strongest, and then it came the Necrons, of course, with a new update. But then, since then, seemed that scintillating has been trending slowly and slowly downwards. Maybe it's just that players have figured out how to play them, or that the meta have changed against them. Now the birds do hit some point increases. It's not a lot, but I guess it kind of breaks it to some extent, just because you get no shaft almost. Or how do you see the Chaos Demons right now?
The first hit was that. There was a rules change during the last slate where the puppeteer lot of change now needs to see one model in the unit that is puppeteering through, which forces you to be, in some examples, quite a bit more forward, unless you're playing like pink horrors or very big screamer units. And I think, yes, there was this thing that you now bypass loan up, but there wasn't like that much loan up that needed handling. Of course, it would help, but I think that was a bit more of a nerf than people wanted to believe that it was. And then the meta started to change into a more hostile meta as well for Scintillating Legion, because I really don't like getting pushed. And there's more like aggressive sort of going wide armies around. And there was also the rise of Talons custodes, and Talons is like the sister custodes detachment that gives all of the custodes that are close to sisters a 5-up Pheno Pain against mortal wounds and psychic attacks. So that was a very problematic matchup for Scintillating Legion as well, and people were looking towards, being more into rhinos, getting the specific more psychic attack protections as well. So the meta was sort of turning into a more hostile place for Scintillating Legion already, and it got nerfed now. All the birds went up 15 points, so that's 45 points. Puppeteer went up 15 points as well, so that's 60. So now you're lacking another shaft unit that you need even more with the Puppeteer nerfs. So yeah, it's like a 3-pronged attack into the army. So I think they're gonna end up quite a bit worse. You're still gonna see them around. It's not a bad army, but yeah, they're going down.
We saw that Games of Westeros this last weekend in Sweden, the largest tournament in the Nordics. I think that was 15 Chaos Demons. It was the most represented. That might change here. What do you say, Emil?
No notes on what Jesper said. He framed it perfectly. Triple tap. I would put them down. I don't know if I put them down top of B, but I think that in this meta, at least bottom of A. I don't know what you're saying, Jesper.
Yeah, they could have a resurgence if things turns out into being like the medium infantry models with 3 wounds, because obviously that's exactly where you're gonna be with scintillating legion. So we'll see. It might be ebb and flow with their place in the meta and in team specifically. And I just need to say also there is, I mean, people were playing around quite a bit, especially at Pyro with demonic incursion and like big demons. I have to say I think that's a quite bad army. But it does exist. I don't think it makes up for anything or makes any matchup better. But that is still around. I will acknowledge that it exists as a build.
But
Yeah,
you would say the
and
scintillating is still the go-to in your book, Jesper?
Probably. I think you can maybe start arguing for Shadow Legion again. Maybe. It does take up Heretic Astartes, so maybe not in a team setting, but it's let's not forget about that build.
New juicy Raptors and Warp Talons with grenades. Ooh.
Yeah, yep. Could be.
Yep. So I mean, it's kind of sure, it's good for them if there are more 3-wound infantry bodies going around, but then again, they will have less screens, and the 3-wound marine bodies want to push you, and you don't have enough screens to push you to stop the push now. If you're losing one of your small units, so it's kind of like a good with the bad, I guess. I think they're gonna drop.
Yeah, like is it bottom B or is it bottom of A, or do you think they're dropping to B? Are they like stronger or not stronger than Emperor Children? Like where do we actually think they're ending up?
I think top of B is my most honest answer.
Stronger than Chaos Knights?
Ahead of C.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. For now. Could go downhill, but we'll see.
Could run even further.
Yeah. And yes, Ilpipsi, I think there's an argument for Haldomartyr if you wanna start really being strong into the middle builds for sure. But we'll see how things turns out for Sister, and if the meta becomes so severe in that way that you actually need that, because I think Champions of Faith is a better detachment overall by far.
Yeah, I mean with that, I mean sure the melee meta might be a little bit hostile to the Sisters, but they're still a good, strong army, a solid army. So you shouldn't go in and feeling like you don't have an options in that, and you can still do well with champions.
Yeah, and if you're, yeah, sorry.
No, I'd say, and I believe you will be.
So if you're watching this live, just ask it in the YouTube chat, and we will try to answer it. And of course, otherwise, just come into the Vesta Discord if you see this, and if you want to chat more with these two gentlemen about the current meta, so to speak. All right, next up, Chaos Space Marines. Both of you gentlemen do love to play it. I think that you did play it this last weekend here, Emil, and you did get one more point than Jesper, so I guess you have the go-to here. Also with the models ready, but I think that Chaos Space Marines, if we start actually with the build that you played or the list you played, that's a big shift into the enhancement, right? So maybe that's a good starting point, or?
There's a bigger problem. There's a much bigger problem.
Killed my boy. How they killed my boy. Okay, I'm absolutely devastated by this. And I'm like, why? Why? What? Why would you do this? Why?
I will tell you why.
So, okay. So there were like I didn't do that well. Okay, I didn't do that well. It wasn't warranted. So what they did for the Marauders, Renegade Warband, whatever, the Gladius attachment that recently came, which Renegade Warband. So you're unable now to take Cult Marines. That means no Noise Marines, no the Plague Marines, no Zergs. And Noise Marines was like a staple of that army because they don't benefit for Dark Pacts, which you don't lose, so you'd have nothing to lose, and they get Oath, and they get access to +1 AP, +1 to wound, and so lethal from a strat, massively buffing them and actually making them like a key piece of that detachment. Now they're unable to take them. Horrific. Okay, next one. You can't take the double oath enhancement on a damned unit. So you have like this previously very expensive enhancement that you now need to put on character that is not a damned character that you don't want to lose. If you lose, it's going to be devastating for you. But you need to put it onto an actual character. Next up, I don't remember. Yeah, all right. The third one is that you need to have line of sight to the unit that you double oath. So now you can't take that enhancement, put it on Terminators, or have him up in the sky to protect him, and then only drop in turn 3. Now you actually need to have whatever you want to have with that enhancement out in the open, looking at the things and risking to die. Sure, it went down in points, but all in all, I think that attachment unfortunately is dead now. Which makes me very sad because it was very enjoyable to play that attachment. As you said, I played it during against Westeros this weekend. Had a blast playing it, but at several points in that tournament, I said, well, maybe just Renegade Raiders might just be better. So this detachment it didn't earn these kind of nerfs, so I'm a little bit upset about it. With that being said, again, maybe Renegade Raiders is just better, or the Huron's Marauders might also be just better, the other detachments. So even though the Chaos Space Marines caught quite a significant nerf to one of the detachments, I do not believe that will have a negative impact on them now. I think the stocks are up for Chaos Space Marines. I think there are still a lot of builds to be found. The best of the Maelstrom, they're actually super powerful. Huron super powerful. We have more coming up in Eye of Terror now, so it's looking up. I think that as I said, going up clearly. How much, it's hard to say, but it's a solid army.
Yeah, relatively, because I guess, spoiler, if we start looking at the armies next, I think they're gonna improve a bit. Like, not super much, but I think they're. And we didn't really have an established base for them in the meta before, to be honest, because they were so new and under-discovered and underdeveloped. But I think, as you say, they're going up. Like, you can put the green arrow, and I think we can keep them for now. But things are going to change around them.
Yep.
Understood. And as I understand it, the meta is one of the big parts where you think it will be better for them.
Yeah, but also, I mean, they just got like some really strong new data sheets, some really strong new rules, and we have more coming up. So predict up.
Cool. All right, Astra Militarum. I'm gonna say, boys, I'm surprised that you put it in 8 tier. In my book, this has been a top army, even with the nerfs of the reroll ones on objectives. This army did get nerfed when it comes to Rogodorns, but I think we can understand that maybe they don't even need them, and it's not a big nerf. So how do you see Astra Militarum right now?
I don't know. I think they were going, and the Grizzled Company builds, ever since the reroll ones to wound nerf, were going down, I would say. Power-wise, quite a bit more than people expected. Also sort of meta-wise. So this is where I feel like they belonged before. Of course, Nemo did extremely well with Recon, and it is in some situations a very oppressive army. But it has weaknesses. There are builds that it's very weak to, and perhaps a general play pattern that's going to be more prevalent now, like namely pushy, fast, quick melee that has just enough damage to actually kill them. So that is a problem for them, and Grizzled Company, already a weaker army than expected, getting worse. I think they're still gonna be around. They're still good, but I think they're at least behind Sisters right now.
Oh wow, I would say that's almost a hot take. I think that many others right now are rating them really high. Do you agree, Emil, that they are getting down the
I think
ranks?
we need to separate Recon from Grizzled, which are the two. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say the two main played. I mean, we have again Nemo playing Recon. I think that you need to look at Recon as a different beast that poses different problems and something that you might face in a team tournament. If someone takes that to a singles, you maniac, don't do it, please. But for the Grizzled, I agree. I think that they have with the loss of the reroll ones to wound, and with the points buffs now, it's going to be harder to bring in the Scion bombs, which you need to in order to get reliant damage out. Yeah, they took a nerf. Sorry to say it. Space Marines going up, sororitas staying. Yeah, putting them behind sororitas is I can agree.
All right. I'm surprised, but I hear you. And if we talk about the LVO champion Nemo and for sure playing that Regan, is that can others mimic, or is just that he is so much more played in it? Because of course we should rate these armies based on the best attachment and the best way to play it, or whatever we can say.
I mean, obviously he plays it very well because he's played it for a long time, but he's been trying to make the same build work since at least WCW 2024. And it is such a specific build that sooner or later it's going to hit a meta where it's really, really good. And that's sort of how, I mean, variance works if you play something that goes unnerfed. And like I said, I think the meta is going to turn out a bit more hostile towards it.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think people are going to be looking towards picking it up now. But that's also going to mean that they get dissected more and people understand their place in a meta and their strengths and weaknesses more.
Yeah, I mean, look at the things coming up here. We have the Blood Angels, the Emperor's Children, the Dark Angels, the Tyranids, the CSM even. All of them can melee push into recon and topple them. So,
and not with not having the Dorn spam, I guess that has been somewhat of a counter towards those because it's been hard to take that down for some of the melee pressure armies. But now maybe people trend away from it. Okay, makes sense. Very cool. And I guess it's a red arrow then on the Astra Militarium.
Yeah.
I think yeah. I think on the other hand, with some things going down, yeah, it's a very weak red arrow or yellow.
Small, yeah, I could.
We can go yellow also. I mean, it can be
do it red. Do it red for the memes.
For the memes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I mean, we're looking at a Rogel Dorn commander is almost as much as a small knight or as a knight now.
That's but they are. Compare them to like a repulsor executioner or anything. They're crazy strong. Makes no sense. Why can't the Marine put himself in the driver's seat on that and do it for Ultramar? I don't know. It makes no sense.
Because they need to fit all of the ammunition somewhere, and they can't.
Right. Yeah.
Too fat.
Good one. All right, we have finally reached the S tier now. We have seen that Tau has made it up there with a double arrows because of the twin lance. But Emil, the Deathwatch didn't hit any nerf, not even on the forties or anything. I guess. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. With Space Marines.
There is a nerf. The Combi Lieutenant, which is imperative to get the Alpha Strike on the home objective. Put the reroll wounds on the home objective and kill those pesky, sticky dudes. Got a nerf. So that's 15 points. It's going to be a problem.
But ITT you played with 1980, right?
Oh my God! Spoiler alert! I was building up to it. Yes, of course, the perfect list was previously 1985 points, and now 2000 sharp, just as planned. So yeah, sure. I mean, you lose the flexibility. You can't take the infiltrators now. You can't take the Caldus instead now. You're kind of locked into that 90-point range, which might actually be a third Incursor squad instead of the JPI. But I think that Deathwatch got out like bandits here. They really like it. They don't necessarily care about, like, the only thing that they don't really like here would be the recon. Like, of course, they don't like Tau. They don't like the Tau getting stronger here, because Tau is one of the things that are actually able to, on the Tau's table choice, be a problem for Deathwatch. Recon Astra also, but and the shift for Recon Astra, the shift in Astra to maybe more Recon Astra will not be good, and Tau being more prevalent will not be good, especially now not that fast, hard hitting and moving in the fight phase Tau. So by that sense, not super. Also, Deathwatch really like going to Necrons, Custodes, Ultramarines, all of them being less prevalent. They don't necessarily like it. But then I'm looking at everything else going up and down here, and I don't see anything that is actually a problem. So I think Deathwatch is sitting happy.
But are they behind Tau? Probably, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I think Tau is less table agnostic, like table dependent, so they have that going for them. Yeah, yeah,
but still like a yellow in this.
Yeah.
But it sounded a bit on you that maybe the meta is still, in some weird way, getting worse for Deathwatch. Would you say that it still got
so
worse?
Specifically Tau getting better, and the shift in Astra towards Recon could potentially mean more worse matchups for Deathwatch. But then we're looking at other things, like all of the other things going up: CSM, Chaos Knight, Death Guard, Blood Angels, Emperor Shield, and Tyranids. Like all of those, good stuff.
Good stuff.
So
yeah. And if you've seen this tier list out of day 0 of the new slate, also check in the interview that I did with Emil some week ago, breaking down the Deathwatch and also how he was able to go 119-1 at the ITT Winter here earlier this year. And we can see Deathwatch continue being this strong. I think that many actually would have thought that they maybe should get a bit of a nerf, to be honest. We also saw in Swilson picking up from you, Emil, giving you a lot of credit and winning the Manchester Super Major here just some week ago. So Deathwatch continue and probably will have a great spring, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
All right, and then over to, I will say, the brothers in the blue, the Ultramarines, who's been almost like a blue bane of the Warhammer 40k for the last 6 months or so, and for some time were arguably the strongest. They, I would say, got hit with quite some nerf, both on the Wardens, the old Calgar disappearing, the Redemptor's Dreadnoughts if you play with those, also the Repulsors being more expensive. But I guess they're pretty good still.
I disagree.
Uh-huh.
I think this is all coming together. When you start looking at the lists, it's not looking that good anymore. I think that's gonna add up into a army that's bad enough for people to pivot to other marine builds. There are so many other interesting marine builds that I think there's finally gonna be not that much Ultramarines around.
Wow.
I mean, we were already seeing people taking the ballistas, for example, because they just didn't feel like they had good options. And that, for me, is not like, that's not a data sheet. At 140, yeah, at 150, no. And now you're looking at like all of the other stronger versions getting nerfed. We're losing Calgar with the friends. The lieutenant is going up in points. There's just such a compound of nerfs going into this, that it's going to be, they're going to take a toll. They're going to be, I previously felt like there was a little bit what we call mellanmjölk, middle milk, like not very good. But now they're actually coming into their true, because in Sweden we have like the fat milk that's red, the middle milk is green, and the light milk is blue. And I think they're light milk now. They're blue.
Wow. Okay, I hear you, but I know, of course, the common lieutenant being probably the strongest data sheet, and Calgar probably was one of the strongest units in the game, and now old Calgar is gone, and that's a problem. So where do we actually swing them? When I listen to you, it sounds almost like the B tier, but can it be that bad?
No, I think
so.
there's going to be. You think so?
Yeah, I think they're better than World Eaters. That's where they're gonna be.
Oi,
All this far?
Yeah, go away.
Oi. Okay, yeah, that's a take. Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't mind. That means that the Marine slot will be open for me when I go.
Because that's the thing. Like the competition is so high.
That's true.
that's
But
gonna
let's
make-
if looking from a singles perspective here, of course you're still gonna like I think it's still a solid army. You need to tweak it a bit. You can't just rely on the Vitrix bricks anymore. You need to go a little bit wider, and maybe then you lose that actual like the critical mass that you need. The repex with the in assault doctrine with the whatever devastator doctrine with the strat still rocks, and Guilliman pointing to what still rocks, but it's a little bit expensive now. It's a little bit expensive now.
But
I mean, we're looking at also the what are they called? The dudes that are like these guys dudes, but Ultramarines. The
Wardens of Ultramar.
Wardens of Ultramar going up in points as well.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at you have the lieutenant going up in points. I know that you want to drop it, but me.
should I drop it here?
You have the,
Yes, do it.
Okay. But I mean, you have the lieutenant going up in points. So now, if you put the armor of Antonios or whatever it's called on him, now what is he? 100 in points. Now you have and the wardens 115 or something as well. So you don't actually have anything cheap to go out with, and you're already so chunky that you need to scale down your big things. You need to take like a 3-man with Calgard, and you have a 4-man. You can't take the old Kato, so
It's
now
so
you have
pathetic.
It's just like, where are we even going with this?
Is it double arrow down on this ones?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sorry for interrupting you here, Emil. I'm just trying to
No,
get
I'm
us
sorry.
up to
I'm
speed.
just. So I'm a little bit. The reason I am like oof about this is because I actually have been painting an Ultramarine army for this last few months, and I'm a little bit sad. Wait, I need to. I've been taking out models for every occasion.
Well,
I even have.
Unfortunately, I haven't
I
bought
even
all
have-
the Ultramarines characters. I was about to do the same as you did.
I even have an unopened Gulliman.
But haven't you heard the rumor there's going to be a new Gulliman
Yeah, that's gonna be like the
in Gravis
okay,
armor
here.
with
So,
two
like, my
Victrix?
boy. My boy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see him, but
I'm-
he's got a mustache.
I'm still surprised,
see.
even though I fully hear what you mean. But coming into this, I thought actually Chaos Demons would be the ones dropping the most. I didn't see that the Ultramarines would drop below Emperor Children, Blood Angels, and even Death Guard. So we will see. I mean, we don't know. This is day 0, but we can say one thing, that people who's been bored of the Ultramarines might be kind of happy right now, because according to at least these two gentlemen, Ultramarines are now the weakest they've been for probably 12 months or something like that.
I mean, I'll be honest. I thought they were like bottom of A even before this happened. I like. It's just. I think they were overrated before.
All right, very cool. All right, we go over to Adeptus Custodes, the army that Jesper came back into Warhammer 40k with, and that you've been playing now here lately. And Nassim, of course, did a big revolution to this army at the ITT Winter. And since then, we have seen Custodes left, right, center with those land raiders and guards. But the guards have been increased in points, and also the allies from the Imperial agents. So I guess we can say it's been nerfed, but the question is, how much did they get nerfed, guys?
I mean, if you just don't change base, if your idea is to change as little as possible, you just drop two custodian guards and you degrade Witch Seeker squad into prosecutors, and then you can play the exact same thing. So in general, it's the same build, and with the idea of the meta game being unchanged in general, yes, of course, it makes the army slightly worse, but perhaps with that in mind, it's not such a big deal, probably. There might be some developments and meta adjustments that you could do with it. Perhaps you just go all infantry. I don't know. It's unlikely with a Land Raider at 220 points that hits on 2s. So I think they're still very strong. I don't think they're the best army in the game. Absolutely not. I think they're still gonna struggle with because I think there's still going to be Catans around, for example. But they're still they're a very solid choice. I think they still belong in S, but I think they're probably worse than both Tau and Deathwatch. But they're gonna be with a yellow. Is my take.
And how do you see it, Emil?
I agree. I'm having some YouTube connection issues. Are we still live?
We are. Maybe
my thing dropped. Just want to double check so that we're still broadcasting.
To me, it says excellent, so I hope that continues.
Okay, perfect. No,
I know your internet has been a bit whiffy, so no worries.
But I'm seeing you guys. Well, yes, I agree. Like the custodes, they got a nerf. They will lose a few things, but they will still be strong. It's not enough to push them away.
But Jesper, you were saying you think that they will be a bit worse in this meta, or do you think it can be better?
No. What I said was that they are objectively a bit worse by themselves because they lost 2 guards and play a witch seeker unit. But the general power level is probably going down a slight peg, and that sort of helps them. So I think they can come away with that, even though they lost 85 points. So yeah, it's fine. They're fine. It's still a very oppressive army to play against, and I think it's going to continue. But they have some quite big holes in their matchup spread. So yeah.
This is one of the interesting parts, side effects as well, of being able to take 3 or 4 man units, because you lose something and you don't have to remove an entire unit. You can flex, like change them around, so you can have more 3-mans and 4-mans, stuff like that. So that's
4 and 5 mans, but yes.
4 and 5, yes, 4 and 5. So that actually, you can fine tune it a little bit, removing some of the impact of the nerfs.
Yeah, that's really cool. So we are I believe 145 into this one. Warhammer 40k is always taking longer than you think, and we've been deep diving. I think that one thing we can say is that the bottom half have been disappointing. Like a lot of these armies in C and D should have got buffs, and they should have got bigger buffs than the Imperial Knights.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is just the whole conversation, and probably in some senses could be a 1-hour conversation. We will try to not keep it for 1 hour, but we can say that the world of Warhammer 40k really wanted to see these Necrons getting heavily beaten. Please just destroy all the plastics and burn down those Nightbringers and Catans with him. And I'm not sure if that happened. We will see. They have got significant nerfs, that we can say for sure. It's a worse army. Question will be, how much worse are they right now?
I mean, someone said that Astra and the Nightbringer got equal point nerfs.
Yep.
Maybe that wasn't really fair.
I think it's all complete. And I mean, it should be said that before the previous slate, Necrons were probably at the lowest. At the same time, after the 500 worlds came in, they've been crazy good. But just to try to summarize, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but can we say the Catan's been hit, of course, with a small point increase? They've been hit even more with a Pantheon of Woe. We can talk about maybe that detachment even is dead now. But reality is also that now the King is not buffing the rerolls for them. Now the Necrosser is not buffing everything what he was buffing, like not the King, not I believe the King is not the cult, I guess, and not the Catans. And then also actually in Star Shatter, that for many was seen as the best detachment. Now basically the stratagems are not working on the Catans. So even though Catans have not been so much more pricey, they've been nerfed basically across all the different buffs that they could receive.
Yeah, I would say that the Pantheon of Woe obviously got hit the hardest, and you probably won't be seeing Pantheon of the Woe in the same extent as before. As for the other detachments, Jesper probably have better way in on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree that they have a less natural fit in Star Shatter now. They don't really fit with the King anymore. Of course, you can still take them and just ignore that. I think it's interesting to start looking at other detachments as well, where you sort of play the Necron army and then you fit in as many Catans as you can afford with the points left. And I think that's going to be it's once again going to be a bit of like ebb and flow. what am I saying? Whatever. It's going to be back and forth how many Catans are actually good in the metagame, depending on how the rest of the armies are looking and the builds are looking. But I think they're still around, I'm afraid. And perhaps now together with Wraiths or with 20-man warrior bricks and things like that, I think Necrosor is now priced and ruled at a point where you're not going to see him as much unless you're doing like more destroyer heavy builds or maybe, of course, in Awakened Dynasty where you can res him. Just to sum it up, I think Necrons is still a very good army. I would say that they still belong in S tier, but I don't think they're the best army in the game. They're gonna have weaknesses regardless of builds.
And we rate them then. Maybe the Tau then going up to be the number one here. How do you see it with the Deathwatch, the custodes?
I want to believe that Deathwatch is better, but that Necrons is better than custodes.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think that we will see a quite significant lowering of win rates for Necrons because you won't be able to just Unga Boonga it in the mid tables. But of course, there will still be more strong choices, but that will require you to deep dive into the other kind of units you have, like the warrior bricks, like I said, the raids, and you will be posing different kind of problems. The Necrons already had like a little bit of an issue pushing high points.
Yeah.
I think that might be even so now, like further, that will be more of a problem now as well. But they will still be able to get those wins, and they will still be strong in a team context. They will still be posing problems. People might not tech into them as much now as well, since it might not be as a given that they're there, which might actually be working in their favor. I mean, the Deceiver and the Nightbringer for 10 more points, they're still very strong, even though they don't benefit from a lot of the aura rules and whatnot. It's still gonna be a problem, and I still think there are strong builds out there.
It's an interesting, almost like interception or whatever, to say that because Necron got worse, they actually from the meta probably will benefit almost. Maybe that's a far stretch, but it's an interesting one to say at least, because of course a lot of armies have ticked specifically against the Catans. The Catan spam seems to be kind of dead. One question and thought I have is also that, okay, Pantheon of Woe probably dead. The Star Shatter, as we have seen it, is probably also dead. Like probably we see maybe some Catan in it, but not with the Crosser, and probably not with like 2 or 3 Catans together with the King. But we have seen so many others. We have seen basically all detachments almost being played in this slate and done it pretty good. I think Awakening has been up there. I think that one part is how good is it, the Cursed Legion, right? That's the belief focus.
Destroyer?
The new
That's
one.
a destroyer detachment.
Yeah. Like that one almost didn't really get the chance just because the others were so good. Can you see that they would trend towards it, and how do you see the meta being for that detachment? Is that too early to say?
Necrosor is still good, is very, very good in that attachment. I think there's some interesting innovation perhaps to do there. So we'll see how things turns out. Maybe. Big maybe.
But that's also a very different army from what we've been seeing from Necrons before as well.
And maybe a traditional Star Shatter still without the Necrosser and with just maybe one Catan would be pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake, Catans are still good. They got a 10 point per dude increase. I mean, you take 3 and you lose one of these small single guys, so you can still run an army. You won't be seeing the Pantheon, because then we're talking about 25 points, and all of a sudden you won't have anything else to run the game with. But like 1 or 2 Catans is like a given. Like the Deceiver is that guy rocks.
Yeah, but still, without the stratagems, without the King's rerolls, and without the Necrosser sustain, it's for sure is an output nerf on the Catans that are potentially
if you play them like that, but if you play them in Canoptic Court or in Awakened Dynasty, there's no difference. You just enhance the rest of your army instead. And it might also be that they're still strong enough in Star Shatter. We're gonna find out.
For sure, for sure. All right, so we are done right now with the complete tier list, and we can just say that very little changes to take it out. Basically, Tau is stronger, Ultramarines are a lot weaker, Chaos Demons is trending down, and then we have a bit of a raffle around. I wouldn't even say the Blood Angels are that much better, but we can
I
say
think
that
one of the big takeaways in the B tier is also like Emperor's Children going up quite a lot
yeah,
from
absolutely.
where they were.
Some yiggling around there, but we can say at least at first glance and first reactions, the community has been pretty. I wouldn't say upset, maybe is too strong of a word, but fairly disappointed. And I think it comes a lot from that Necrons just have been so strong and shaping the whole meta, and people are fed up. And now it seems that still Necrons is in the S tier. Of course, if you're playing in an army in C and D tier, it hasn't been fun here for quite a while, and it seems to continue quite many months. I split the question in this way. Is the new slate better than the previous one? What do you think, Jesper?
Better, yeah. It is more balanced. The extremes have moved towards each other, which is good. But I think this is not. The GW has set such a high standard for how the slates come out now. Like they tend to fix the weaker armies and they tend to adjust the better armies, and that just didn't happen here. So I think they've come to expect more, and that's why they're disappointed. And I think that makes sense. But yeah, this is probably the strongest indirect confirmation of 11th we've had so far. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's better. We're better off now than we were yesterday. I think what kind of annoys people is like these token changes, like the World Leader 5 points on the Forge Wings, which will change absolutely nothing. Stuff like that kind of grinds people's gears because they've been looking at Ultramarines and Necrons getting all of these toys, and here we are getting nothing, or like no changes for Orks, and Orks are in a bad place. Eldar getting continuous nerfs. Like it seems like a little bit out of touch with the changes that are coming in, which of course leaves you with like a bad taste in the mouth. But in like a general sense, yes, we did at least temper the Necrons a little bit. We did at least take down like the major outliers a little bit. Of course, we would have wanted it to be a little bit more. But I think we've seen this behavior from GW for a while, with them just completely ignoring some of the factions that really needed some attention, or some of the units that really needed attention, and then going overboard with like some others, like the CSM change for the warband, completely out of left field and way overboard. Like, why didn't you put some of that effort into giving Orks or Genestealers or I don't know, Space Wolves something, or Grey Knights, for the love of God, Grey Knights, give them something, and not Terminators points, So I think that's why a lot of people are a bit upset. But as Jesper said, this is a very, very strong indication that their focus is completely somewhere else. Also worth mentioning, like if you compare this with the changes we've received from Master of the Maelstrom and 500 Worlds, I would say the 500 Worlds and Master of the Maelstrom have been more impactful.
Yeah.
And we're looking at another release coming up just next month, which will probably also be more impactful, with new detachments for 6 factions and a bunch of new units coming out. So I don't think we will be sitting in this meta for too long. I think there will be some changes, gradual ones as well. So I don't know if they are moving away from these updates being the framework that they go in with, like, here's a big quarterly patch and this is where we're going to live. It kind of like their distribution and their publishing model has kind of disrupted that on their own. So
100%, and I would say that from my view, even though I'm still fairly new into Warhammer 40k compared to you guys, is that basically every third year it comes a new attached edition, and we believe that it's very likely it will hit in the June. We don't know, but that's what most people anticipate. And then it feels like every once a year it's a quite huge patch, not on edition level, but somewhat huge. That was the Grotmos in 2024. it should probably have been the Grotmos in 2025. If you add Grotmos together with the 500 worlds, if those would have come out kind of combined, that's a huge like yearly patch. And then normally in the summer it's somewhat of a medium large patch, but I would say that the Q1 and the Q3 patches normally are more minor, if we could say. So I don't think it's that strange that they did like a smaller one. If you take the Grotmas plus the 500 worlds combined, it's been so much changing in recently. But it's for sure annoying. One thing that I do like though is that they didn't kill Necrons completely off the board. They didn't kill the Chaos Demons off the board. Maybe they did with the Ultramarines, even though I don't see it. But I kind of like that they can tune it down. What we saw with Aeldari, I don't think is good for the game. For example, that they just like take them off the world from one day to another. But for sure, C tier and D tier teams, I guess, are not that happy right now.
I would want to point out the Q3 before in 9th edition. That was the release where they removed war gear cost. Speaking of big changes. So some people were like kind of expecting, okay, now they will go wild. They will do something crazy for the last few months here and we will just, go wild. That did not happen.
Understood. Well, we can see that the B tier should probably be the Chaos tier. We only see the Chaos Space Marines making it to the A tier. I think it's also important to push out once again that this is day 0. There will be a lot of things happening within the meta as people figure out the new state of it. And also, as Emil said, there will come more 500 worlds detachments most likely, and we will see how they will impact the game. Anything last words that you want? Like we say it became better. We know it's like the best it's more or less ever been. And we can just say, like Jesper said, people just want even more from Games Workshop. But how do we sum this up?
I mean, unfortunately, lackluster. I mean, you want to put flavor into this. It's not just for the top end that's playing against Necrons or trying to set up like a team comp. It's also for the happy enthusiast that wants their orcs to be good or wants to take their space wolves out to play. They also want to have like a cookie. So I think that it's a little bit of a mistake from GW's side to focus on and not like there's no reason to not put like shave 5 points out of the Havocs. No one is using the Havocs. There's no like shave 5 points out. Maybe someone will take them. Do look at unused data sheets and try to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, and give the worst army some love. Like they don't want 3 more months of the same.
I guess that's the biggest critique to it, that as of from yesterday to today, very little changed when it comes to for the majority of the players around the world in Warhammer 40k. I do also want to say I think that they seem to have done pretty good in the B tier. We know that they did hit the S and the A tier teams. Like all the teams that were there basically have got trends downwards overall. It's just the bottom part that seems to be the lackluster side here of things. Okay. Yeah. Do we have any tips? Do we have any maybe we should talk about it in the beginning. I know we are 2 hours over. It's probably 1 hour more than we should have, but what should people think about right now? Because we Tau would be stronger, Ultramarines would be worse. But outside of that, is there some tips that you have when people are looking at these data sheets and these changes and going to the next tournament? Like, how should people approach this right now?
I think you need to look at the changes in a bigger scope as well, not just it's 5 points for my Forge Fins. It's what are the bigger implications here and what's going to happen, because that affects you a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's easy to be home blind and be like, okay, this is still shit. I can't take this, but then you realize that okay, well, everything around me has shifted. So even though whatever I bring is the same, it will work differently into the current meta. And also, I mean, you're looking at these tier lists and you go, oh, I can't, I really want to play my votann, but they're middle of C, according to Vesla. I can't bring them. It's not going to be good. Like this is, you can still take pretty much any of these and do well. I think there was like an Aeldari winning a GT not so long ago. There's like people are doing well regardless. It mostly comes down to how well you play them, how well you know them. So if you're a faction specialist or you really love your army and you really have like a thing you want to go for, it doesn't matter whatever letter we put them in. I mean, you could still do well with them. So don't let that be a discouragement from you liking the hobby, because this could very well be something that you look at and then you feel like, oh shit, I don't want, and then you don't play. Like, go out, play, have fun, and you will improve. And then when you get the buff, you all of a sudden you'll be winning because you've been playing like on hard mode, and now you get the buff, and then you can really perform and get those big wins. So I know that sometimes it can feel really rough when you're in a spot where you want buff, you don't get buff, you get disheartened. But stick in there, work your heart out, try to see if you can find some kind of angle in your book, and at the end of the day, I think you will both enjoy it and you will progress and get better.
Some wise words. Anything to add there, Jesper?
No, very well. And just prove us wrong is another good strategy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Give us those comments, likes, subscribes, and tell how these two gentlemen got it completely wrong, as we have a new slate here on day 0. Big shout out to Alpha Spel for supporting Vaisla, and of course providing Games Workshop for all Northern Europeans. And then Tree of Tales, make sure to check them out. 10% discount with the Vaisla discount code. That's some really great utilizations, and I think tokens is something we just need to do more work on, and I also explain. Check that out. I really highly recommend that. But guys, like Emil, what's next up for you, except of grinding it on the TTS? Do you have any big tournaments, or is it a bit of a slow period here in April or March and April?
So on Friday, I'm going to check out a new venue for our Glemperor events, and next week after 14th, we're gonna have I'm gonna run an RTT, and then I'm prepping for another couples tournament that we're running with Glemperor, like one of the local the company that we run and having events with. So it's a lot of work with that. I have I think 3 kilograms of resin terrain that I need to paint up, and as this guy I've been showing a lot, I need to paint my Chaos Space Marines up. So that's a lot of it's a lot of organizing and prepping for that kind of stuff. And then we also have, I think my next large event is going to be Malmö in whenever that is. GothCon,
is it perfect?
Actually.
Yeah, GothCon probably before that. I don't know. No, I was almost saying that GothCon is happening when you having your event there, like around the third week of April.
Yeah. I think it's the 1st of April or something, like the first weekend of April. I think that's when GothCon is. So that's a big West Coast Grand Tournament where I need to defend my championship. So looking forward to that.
You gave me almost a perfect cue, and I actually forgot this slide, but let's just show it super quickly. Of course, on the Vaisla stream, we will have Kings of Saima end of April, Malmö Team Weekend, where you're going there, Emil, 2nd to 3rd of May. Those are golden tickets. And of course, SSG in Stockholm, 5-man team in the middle of May. Hopefully, and maybe we will even add more events. I know I would have loved to go to your event there in the 3rd week of April, because that seems to be a kick-ass one. Couples tournament with beers and pretzels seems to be exactly the right vibe that I need to attack this new slate. Jesper, what's next up for you and for Team Sweden and Vaisla?
Yeah, I think I'm going to focus a lot on internal development now. We need to choose the last players, and we need to just become as good as possible. So taking a break from the tournaments and just focusing on practice for a bit, to be honest, which is nice. And finishing some, I'm saying personal things, but just work things. And then we have the only tournament I have booked right now is actually Nordic Masters in May, but I'm sure I'm gonna get the itch and play something else.
Most likely. There's a couples tournament. Yeah. There's a couple tournament in April that you might want to join.
Couples tournament. I'm single.
Yeah, but I mean, you're Tindering,
right?
Striking strikes. into my heart.
So viewers, if you think Jesper is a handsome lad and you want to take him to a couples tournament, hook me up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's the perfect segue from it. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, and I hope that this gave you some good insights into it. Also, congratulations, Emil, of being selected as the 5th member of Team Sweden. I think it was no surprise to anyone, but it was announced officially today after you did so well at both the ITTs and then also, of course, Games of Westeros this past weekend. Check those live matches up. We also have, as said, the Vesla TTS Team Season 2 coming up here. Sign up to that one. I think it's 23 teams at this very moment. Some of the finest teams from Europe and the Nordics. And then also, I was going to say something more. Yeah, we have a shit ton of matches coming up on TTS also here. The semifinals and grand finals with Emil Söderholm, actually. So stay tuned, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we see you soon. Over and out.
Peace.